course, using human embryos is very ethically difficult. So if we can create models through stem cells that create structures that look and behave like embryos, hopefully we can get a better understanding on how these fundamental developmental processes take place and how things go wrong.
Tell me, why is creating an embryo in this way seen as the exciting breakthrough that's described?
Creating embryos such as this allows us to model how the very early embryo develops in a cultured condition. Most pregnancies fail very early on, sometimes even before the woman may know that she's pregnant. And so it's very hard for us to understand how those embryos failed, why those embryos failed. And of course, using human embryos is very ethically difficult. So if we can create models through stem cells that create structures that look and behave like embryos, hopefully we can get a better understanding on how these fundamental developmental processes take place and how things go wrong.
So tell me, Adam, could this breakthrough in biotechnology mean creating an embryo with a brain and a heart? I mean, you could see why that would be, to many, an alarming idea if it was the case. It would look like taking on God-like creative power. Is that, in theory, a possibility?
At the moment, created through using embryonic stem cells look and behave like embryo. At the moment, they don't have the ability to go on and become a fully formed baby and go on to create a child. But they give us an insight that we haven't had before into how these fundamental processes take place. We think that they might, with a few more tweaks to the technology, maybe be able to generate structures that look like a heart and behave like a brain. But at the moment, we're not quite there yet.
And it is the case, isn't it, that we're in a field of science here which has outgrown the available law to regulate it?
Absolutely. Unlike embryos created through, say, IVF, which are regulated with very tight and very regulated legal frameworks, structures such as these created through embryonic stem cells fall outside of that framework. And so at the moment, whilst the technology is advancing at a rapid pace, the ethical frameworks that cover them or even apply to them are somewhat outdated. So we need to have those new ethical discussions so that we can cover whatever may happen with using these embryonic structures.
It's another story. We've been talking about artificial intelligence. It's another story in the broad field of science where just the pace of progress outstrips partly our understanding of how to control it, how to regulate it, what to do with it. Is this very controversial, in a word, among your fellow scientists, Adam?
I think everyone's waiting to see what comes out of this. This work has yet to be published and peer-reviewed, and it's only a single study, so it needs to be replicated, and we need to see the data published in a reputable journal, which I'm sure it will be. However, this opens a new avenue for research into these embryonic structures and human reproduction, and I agree. It's moving at rapid pace, very, very quickly. These technologies are developing all over the world, and I think we need to have new debates, new ethical frameworks to cover the structures that are created through these processes.
Okay. Well, I'm John Pienaar, and if you found that interesting, we are here each day, Monday to Thursday, 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock on Drive, and from 7 till 8, Pienaar and Friends, where we discuss the big stories of the day each day on Times Radio.